eternity, right? Allah wills to create, and then at a point it is actualized, right? It's not eternally. Is creation eternally actualized
Again, when
or
you say
effectuated?
at a point, when you say
Okay,
a
that's
point,
the point in time that I'm asking you about.
but you can't have a point without creation. So creation itself
That's
is
what I just asked you. Yes.
yes,
So
God
he
itself.
creates at a point.
No, again, the when you say at a point, you're attempting to place God in time and place. God's free from time and place before the instantiation.
Does God have different actions? I'm asking you.
Different actions? Yes.
Okay. So creating is different from the other things he does.
What you intend by action is different to what I mean, as you would have well known from reading Sharul Qaid and these
So
books.
I'm asking you, does creation come about because God wills it at a certain point?
God has willed everything from eternity, and then that thing comes about when He had willed it.
Okay. Did he create ex nihilo?
Well, the divine connection between the instantiation and the creation.
Was the creation eternal, or did it instantiate at some point?
The creation is never eternal.
Thank you. So God willed to at some point have a power that he didn't always actualize, that he then actualized.
When God has willed from eternity, you're saying what
I'm
you
talking
mean.
about, I know you're saying he willed from eternal. I'm talking about the creation itself.
Let me rephrase your question so I understand it well. Do you intend to say that the divine power of God effectuated the existence of creation, prior to which the divine power was not doing anything? Is that what you
No,
intended?
I didn't say that. I'm asking you specifically. You know what I'm asking you? I'm asking you about, did God will to create at a certain point? Does it actualize at a certain point? I know it's eternal. You say he's eternally willed to do it.
Of course, it actualizes at the point when it's instantiated.
Thank you. So there was a movement from potentia to act, and thus change in God.
No, that doesn't entail a change in
It
God.
doesn't entail a change. On your system, it does, because your system defines God as pure act.
According to our system, it doesn't. I tell you why. Because if you read my book, you'd notice that I mentioned effectuating attributes which bring about an effect. Divine power is one of those attributes.
Right.
When it brings about an effect, it doesn't bring a change in God.
So God has potentia, though. You're admitting that if he willed to do it, and there was a change in it not being and then coming into being,
that doesn't bring about a change in God.
It does, because on your system, it admits potentia in God. God went from.
I tell you why it doesn't. The attribute remains the way it is. The effect comes about.
Yeah, but you say the act is also God. I'm asking about the act itself. I'm not asking about the eternal willing, the action of doing it.
Again, if you had read the Creed books, they don't say the divine actions are eternal. Did you read that?
Right, that's what I'm asking you. So God does something that he didn't do before.
But what do we mean by divine actions? It means the effectuation.
So he moved from a state of potentia to action. There was a change. There was a potential for God to create or not to create, and then he created. So there was a potentia that he actualized.
If you actually read the books don't say that. What they say.
I'm asking you how you answer that. I know you don't believe it.
I'm telling you, if you go refer back to the books, they don't say what you're saying. They say that the actions, divine actions, are not even considered to be within God. They're not considered to be within God. That's not the belief of the Muslims.
Right. You believe they're distinct. I understand that. But that's not answering the question that I'm asking you. I know you think they're distinct.
But if nothing contingent is coming about within God or his divine attributes, the question is...
How does God act, and there's no potentia in God, to do something that he didn't have to do?
The description of the effect of the divine power.
I'm not asking about the effect. You admit that he's doing one thing here and something different over there.
I'll explain again. When we say af'alullah, the divine actions, it's a description of the effect.
Okay, and I'm asking you about the act itself, because you said the acts are distinct.
Again, why you're not understanding?
Because you won't answer this question about the act itself.
I am answering the question.
No, you're not. You're just talking about the effects. So you're skirting the question.
One minute.
I tell you why I am answering your question.
What is the act itself?
The act is a description of the effect of the divine power.
No, so the act is the effect. So you just didn't answer the question.
That's what we mean by the acts of God.
Okay, that's why it doesn't work. Don't you understand what I'm asking? That's why I'm pointing out. You're just looking at the effects. That's why your system, beginning with man's mind, doesn't work, because you don't have, because all you go to is causal chain. You never get to the thing itself.
30 seconds. 30
you
seconds.
You have to give a correct citation of our actual position.
I'm asking you the position.
I'm telling you the position that when we say divine action,
you just said it's the effects.
Yes, it's a description of the effect.
So the act is the effect. I'm asking you what the act is, and you're saying it's the effect.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't make sense, because the act is God, the effect is a creature.
Why it doesn't make sense to you is because
because you're not getting the, you don't even get the objection. You're not even getting the objection.
Time. Whoo.
The Maturidi school would say that the effect of a divine attribute, for instance, the divine attribute of tarziq, to sustain, is sustenance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a divine attribute of tarziq, which is to sustain. The effect of this divine attribute witnessed by us is sustenance, rizq. A divine name for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the name Ar-Raziq, the one who sustains. So you have the divine attribute, the divine name, and the effect of that attribute. So with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving life, we would say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Muhyi, the one who gives life. This is the name. But the attribute is Ihya, giving life. The effect is life itself. And like this, each one of these attributes has an effect which we witness for ourselves. Now, when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was al-Khaliq wala makhluq, was creator, but there was no creation, this would refer to the divine attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of being the divine creator. He had this attribute and there was no creation. The effect of that attribute is witnessed when creation comes into existence. So this, in effect, is the position of the Maturidi school. And in Sharh al-Maqasid, which is a work by Imam Sa'aduddin al-Taftazani rahimahullah ta'ala, the contemporary of Sayyid al-Sharif al-Jurjani, he has a book called Sharh al-Maqasid. He wrote a small text which is called Al-Maqasid, and then he wrote a commentary on this text which is known as Sharh al-Maqasid, which is available in one volume. He rahimahullah, he quotes the position of the Maturidi school, and he states that this is attributed to Al-Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi and his